Yes, good morning, friends. How are you all? Today we are going to talk about threads. See, first of all, we need to define thread. What is thread? A thread is similar to a program that has a single flow of control. It has a beginning, a body, and an end, and executes commands sequentially. Okay, so if we talk about in Java is a multi-threaded programming language, which means we can develop multi-threaded program using Java. A multi-threaded program contains two or more parts that can run concurrently, and each part can handle a different task at the same time, making optimal use of the available resources, especially when your computer has multiple CPUs. So, by definition, multitasking is when multiple processes share common processing resources such as a CPU. Multi-threading extends the idea of multitasking into applications where you can subdivide specific operations within a single application into individual threads. Each of the threads can run in parallel. The operating system divides processing time not only among different applications but also among each thread within an application. So, so multi-threading enables you to write in a way where multiple activities can process concurrently in the same program. Now we will talk about the life cycle of a thread. A thread goes through various stages in the life cycle. For example, a thread is born, started, runs, and then dies. A thread is born, started, runs, and then dies. Okay. So if we talk about the diagram of the life cycle of a thread, it is new, runnable, running, waiting, and dead. Okay, this is the life cycle of a thread. Okay, you can pay attention here: new, runnable, running, waiting, and dead. Okay, this is the life cycle of a thread, right? So first, new. A new thread begins its life cycle in the new state. It remains in this state until the program starts the thread. It is also referred to as a born thread, right? It is also referred to as a born thread. Okay, so it is also called newborn state. When we create a thread object, the thread is born and is said to be in newborn state. The thread is not yet scheduled for running. At this state, we can do only one of the following things. First, using start method, schedule it for running using start method, and kill it using stop method. Okay, if scheduled, it moves to the runnable state. If we attempt to use any other method at this stage, an exception will be thrown. Okay, second state, runnable state. After a newly born thread is started, the thread becomes runnable. A thread in this state is considered to be executing its task. Okay, so if we talk about the runnable state means that the thread is ready for execution and is waiting for the availability of the processor, right? That is, the thread has joined the queue of threads that are waiting for execution. If all threads have equal priority, then they are given times slots for execution in round robin fashion, first come first serve manner. Okay, you must have listened this thing. First come first serve manner. The thread that relinquishes control joins the queue at the end and again waits for its turn. The process of assigning time to thread is known as time slicing. What? The process of assigning time to threads is known as time slicing. Okay, however, if we want a thread to relinquish control to another thread of equal priority before its turn comes, we can do so by using the yield method. YIELT. Next, waiting state. Okay, Sometimes a thread transition to the waiting state while the thread waits for another thread to perform a task. A thread transitions back to the runnable state only when another thread signals the waiting thread to continue executing. Okay. Next, time timed waiting. A runnable thread can enter the time waiting state for a specific interval of time. A thread in this state transition back to the runnable state when that time interval expires or when the event it is waiting for occurs. Next, terminated or dead. A runnable thread enters the terminated state when it completes its task or otherwise terminates. Okay, so every thread has a life cycle. A running thread ends its life when it has completed executing its run method. It is natural death. However, we can kill it by sending the stop message to it at any state, thus causing a premature death to it. So a thread can be killed as soon it is born or while it is running or even when it is in not runnable condition or blocked condition. Okay, so now question is that what is blocked state? A thread is said to be blocked when it is prevented from entering into the runnable state, right, and subsequently the running state. This happens when the thread is suspended, sleeping or waiting in order to satisfy certain requirements. A blocked thread is considered not runnable but not dead and therefore fully qualified to run again. So friends, this is thread life cycle. Okay, now let's talk about thread priorities. See, ev- every Java thread has a priority that helps the operating system determine the order in which threads are scheduled. Okay, first, Java thread priorities are in the range between min priority, max priority, or by default every thread is given priority norm priority, min, max and norm. Okay, threads with higher priority are more important to a program and should be allocated processor time before low priority threads. However, thread priorities cannot guarantee the order in which threads execute and are very much platform dependent. See, in Java, each thread is assigned a priority which affects the order in which it is scheduled for running. The threads that we have discussed so far are of the same priority. The threads of the same priority are given equal treatment by the Java scheduler and therefore they share the processor on a first come first serve basis. Okay, so Java permits us to set the priority of a thread using the set priority method. Okay, such as thread name dot set priority and within the bracket we have to give integer number. Okay, so the integer number is an integer value to which the thread's priority is set. The thread class defines several priority constants such as min priority equal to 1, norm priority 5 and max priority 10. So default setting is what? Norm priority. Okay, most user level processors should use norm priority plus or minus 1. Okay, background tasks such as network input output and screen reparenting should use a value very near to the lower limit. Okay, so friends, so how to set priority? Okay, with the set priority method. Okay, now question is that if the question is that if we talk about multi-threading. Okay, if we talk about multi-threading, so what is multi-threading in Java? Okay, a program that contains multiple flow of control is called multi-threading. Okay, now how to create threads? See, creating threads in Java very simple. Threads are implemented in the form of objects that they contain a method called run. Okay, The run method is the heart and soul of any thread. It makes up the entire body of a thread and is the only method in which the thread's behavior can be implemented. So how to define public void run? Okay, now you can see here. Okay, public void run. As a first step, you need to implement a run method provided by Runnable interface. This method provides an entry point for the thread, and you will put your complete business logic inside this method. Okay, so syntax public void run. Okay, and inside this method, statements for implementing thread. The run method should be invoked by an object of the concerned thread. This can be achieved by creating the thread and initiating it with the help of another thread method called start. A new thread can be created in two ways: by creating a thread class or by converting a class to a thread. Define a class that extends thread class and override its run method with the code required by the thread. Define a class that extends thread class and override its run method with the code required by the thread. Next, by converting a class to a thread, define a class that implements runnable interface. Okay. The runnable interface has only one method, run method, that is to be defined in the method with the code to be executed by the thread. Here, if your class is intended to be executed as a thread, when you can achieve this by implementing a runnable interface. Okay. So this approach to be used depends on what the class we are creating requires. If it requires to extend another class, then we have no choice but to implement the runnable interface, since Java classes two cannot have two superclasses. Okay. So friends, first of all, we have declared the class. Okay, suppose class A extends thread. Okay, next we have to implement the run method. The run method has been inherited by the class. Okay, and we have to override this method in order to implement the code to be executed by our thread. This the basic implementation of run method. It will be like a public void run. Okay, so this is all about thread. Okay, I hope you must have got knowledge. Thank you very much.